DNVR Broncos live, coming to you from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Get over to DraftKings Sportsbook, use the code DNVR when you sign up for all of their great promotions and deals. And today the A in Studio A stands for, are they going to trade somebody?
Oh my goodness. No. Assume. We're going to assume who they're trying to trade.
Oh.
You can't just put R in front of things. Also, I'm hearing my voice and it's terrible.
Yeah, what's going on?
I probably have the same thing Zach does.
Oh, great. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, that means you're up next.
Wow. Great start. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start here, Hank. We finally have a couple updates on the coaching staff. Usually it kind of goes a different way where the coordinators come first, but that is not what's happening here. So in place of Zach, who's under the weather, why don't you give us the quick coaching staff update?
Yeah, this is such a Zach job. First of all, Declan Doyle gets a real job. He's a tight ends coach. He's like, he looks like just a young coach.
He does.
Like, if you saw him on the street, you'd be like, oh, I bet that's Declan Doyle, the new tight ends coach.
A hungry young coach.
Yes, he is. Well, I think he had 4 seasons with the Saints, mostly just offensive assistant. This is going to be his first time as an actual position coach. Went to Iowa, degree in business management, degree in marketing. Seems like a smart guy. That's kind of what people say. Looks like Declan Doyle's smart to me. So there you go, Declan Doyle. Gonna have to fix up Greg Dulcich and who knows, maybe Taysom Hill.
That is one of the most Irish names I've ever heard.
Yeah, Declan Doyle working with Dulcich. That'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Also, if we want conspiracy theories, which I have a feeling we do, Logan Kilgore, he is an offensive coordinator down in Texas somewhere. Just happens to be the same school where Arch Manning.
It's in Louisiana.
Oh, is he in Louisiana?
Yes.
I thought he was Texas.
No, Newman is Louisiana.
Newman is the high school.
Yes.
I bet there's a Newman High School in Texas,
There
too.
probably is, but it's the same high school that Peyton, Eli, and Cooper all went to.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, down south, Logan Kilgore is coaching Arch Manning, but not anymore because he is going to be a quality control coach for the Broncos on the offensive side.
Wow. That's interesting. Former CFL quarterback.
Wow.
Believe Grey Cup champion, but I could be wrong about that. At least played for a Grey Cup, I want to say. So there you go. Logan Kilgore, who actually has some Denver ties or some Colorado ties.
His sister.
Yes. Got anything?
He did play he actually was with the Saints as a practice squad or off-season member.
Never heard that one before.
2014.
Off-season member.
Yeah. And then after that had 6 years? 6 years in the CFL. Don't know if he won a Grey Cup.
Okay. It would probably be in there if he did, so I could be wrong.
It'd be a big deal. It'd be in there.
Yeah, it would definitely be in there. Also, if you want to wish Zach to feel better, hit the video with a like. His doctor actually told me 200 likes, he'll be back in no time.
Yeah, it's all mental. It's all mental.
Yeah. A like per viewer keeps the doctor in the sewer.
300 likes, and I might not be here tomorrow. So,
wow, 300 likes and we fire Hank. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. I have a feeling this is going to be a cough show. Like, I haven't been coughing, but midway through.
You shouldn't say this. Like, if you were feeling bad, you shouldn't have come to work.
I wasn't feeling that bad.
Okay. Anyways, got the coaching staff. Anyone else?
No, that's it.
All right.
I guess we didn't talk about this yesterday. We probably should have. Mike Kliss did say, I think 2 days ago, that they've interviewed 6 people to be defensive coordinator.
Interesting.
Christian Parker, DB's coach, is one of them. He's awesome. It seems like one of those things we're going to hear nothing about it till somebody gets hired.
Yeah, for sure. Christian Parker would be interesting. That, you want to keep him around, right?
Yeah.
He's loved by the players. Obviously, you would assume keeps a similar system in place. And if he doesn't get that job here, he might be taking a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, Evero might want to bring him where he is, whatever it may be.
Yep. I mean, Damari Mathis was awesome this year. Ronald Darby was also awesome. That doesn't get talked about. Jaquan McMillan in the final game was awesome. That's Christian Parker's job.
That was my guy.
Yeah.
He maybe you should do a Damari Mathis film room because I don't think people think he's good.
Yeah. Well, it would be pretty easy to just watch the first couple games he played and think
Narratives
that he is
get
terrible.
written immediately.
Oh, yeah. Everybody made up their mind because I think he subbed in against the Colts, and that was when Darby tore his ACL in the second quarter. He comes in the second quarter. He's targeted 6 times the rest of the game, gives up 6 catches for 94 yards, just gets torched. And then the next week, his first career start, he has the 4 pass interference penalties. And there's only one player in the NFL who had more than 4 pass interference penalties all season.
Wasn't it tied? Or no, someone had 5.
Martin Emerson wound up with 5.
Wow, never even heard of him.
Yep, Browns.
So, yeah, I mean, as soon as he had that awful game against the Chargers, obviously the Broncos lose. And I just think people were like, okay, this guy sucks.
Yep.
Then he was like pristine the rest of the season.
He was awesome.
And so I think it's a good one to highlight.
He's sick, yeah. He's awesome.
He is probably not the Denver Bronco who is rumored to be on the trade block.
Yes. Also, I feel like let's give Mario a shout out. You know, what the headline today, rumors suggest Sean Payton and the Broncos are shopping a big name. We could change that to Mario is suggesting that the Broncos are shopping a big name.
This is not hate to Mario, but when I was in journalism school, they said only put the person's name in the headline if they're famous.
Wow. Wow. See, I think the more details you can give, as long as you're not like taking up more space.
No, this is where like Florida man comes from.
But that's because I don't know, because I think people know Mario. I guess that's what it is.
People do know Mario.
Because Florida man, the other option is like, I don't know, Jason the Snason. It does this. I guess he would be
Jason
notable.
the
People
Snason
know
counts,
Jason the Snason. Yeah, Jason, not the Snason. It's like then people are like, well, who? So you might as well just say he's in Florida. But this one, it's like it's all Mario.
Yeah, it is. So you want to read the tweet?
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up. But I do really want to read it.
SMH.
Where did it go? Let's see, Mario. Let's see, we're going to have to search the last name. I thought he'd be my first Mario. There it is. Mario Vatanzi. Scrolling down. He's been tweeting a lot. He's really been tweeting.
Wow. For some quick info on Mario, he works with a lot of the guys in a chiropractic role. And his dad actually used to be the team chiropractor for the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos were the first team ever to have a team chiropractor.
Wow.
And yeah,
I actually didn't know that.
Grew up around the facility, diehard Denver Broncos fan, works with a lot of the players, and tweeted.
There's a big name Denver Bronco on the trade block. The team is going to shop him around, get a sense of his value, and if the price is right, they'll pull the trigger. The team is desperate for more draft picks, and the thinking is that this player should lead to a good return. And then from there, you got
this is good.
Ben Albright saying, it's Garett Bolles. Sources say it's Garett Bolles.
Then Zac Stevens.
Yes, he says, no, it's not Garett Bolles. Mario, in the replies to his tweet, when people say, oh, it's got to be Bolles, he says, no, it's not Bolles. Or they'll say, like, oh, it's Simmons. And he'll say, no, it's not Simmons. And then he didn't really deny the rest. Troy Rank.
But then I saw him screenshot. I thought I saw him screenshot Albright's thing and say, I hate to say I told you so or something.
Yeah, I think that's also a thing. There's a lot of things. Yeah, so he said it's not Simmons. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's not Surtain, according to him. It's not. Oh, maybe he didn't shut down Bolles. He might not have shut down Bolles. I might have been wrong about that. But then there was Troy Rank, who tweeted, there's been like whatever buzz that like, who knows it, or no, I think it's like just taking a guess.
Yes.
It could be like Garrett Bolles or Courtland Sutton. And then he follows it up later and says, source says it's not Garrett Bolles.
Yep.
And it's like, well, wait a minute.
Source.
Did you not bring up Sutton with the source? Or
right.
So.
Right. This is interesting.
Yeah.
And I love that Zac has entered the ring in source offs.
Oh yeah,
I love a good source off.
yeah.
Zac and I used to laugh about source offs. Now
Yep.
he's in there with the gloves on.
He sure is. And I feel like this is one of those things where you can trust nobody, so you don't really know. But what you can probably guess is that the Broncos are trying to trade somebody. Like, why not? Why not free up some cap space? There's no way that Sean Payton's looking at this team saying, like, yeah, let's just run it back. And on top of that, by the draft value charts, right now the Broncos have the second least draft capital in the league this year, coming off a draft last year where they also were near the bottom. So it just makes sense to try to like move some people and get some picks.
So it's in the comments. So I want to talk about like what's going on here.
Yeah.
Right? And someone said essentially like I think the thought out there is Bolles tells Mario they
Yep.
put me on the trade block.
Yep.
Right?
Probably. If it's Bolles, which is a good guess.
Albright calls who he's got to call, says it's Bolles.
Yeah.
Then someone talks to Zac and they talk to Troy Rank and they
Yep.
say it's not Bolles. People are in the comments are saying, well, that's probably Broncos PR. My question is, if Garrett Bolles knows he's on the trade block, why would Broncos want to shoot that down?
Because I don't know, I don't think somebody went to Garrett and said, Garrett, you're on the trade block.
His agent probably would.
I mean, his agent probably said, like, I've heard these rumors. But if you're the Broncos and you're saying, like, we don't know, we want to get rid of him, why not keep him happy? Like, that's just an easy shoot.
My
down.
thing is, we're just guessing on the line of communication here. My thing is, if he's the one who's saying I'm on the trade block, then there's no point in the Broncos trying to tell him he's not.
If he's 100% sure.
Unless they don't actually have him on the trade block.
Yeah, or they just don't want him to think so. Like, why not just try to make him happy? Like, it's worth a try, right?
I think if
why not?
I think before they ever find out about this, it makes sense to say like to try and keep the information from them. But if he knows, there's no need to like lie and be like, no, you aren't. If he actually is,
except that again though, like it's not like his agent probably didn't say, Garrett, these guys are trying to trade you. They are absolutely trying to get you out there. Like he probably said, like, hey, I've heard your name bounce around a little bit. And for the Broncos to just say, no, we haven't had like active conversation. We're not putting him on the trade block. We're not trying to get rid of him. Like, why not just keep him happy?
And for what it's worth, I can only speak for myself. I have no idea who Zac's source is on this.
Oh no.
Like that, it's kind of like a weird unspoken thing. I would never even ask.
Yeah, that'd be freaked up.
You can say
it's not all-time earmuffs.
All right, fine. I called all-time earmuffs.
You did.
So yeah, I don't know who told Zac or where his information is coming from, but I'm just guessing because that's what I would do if it wasn't Zac.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't know where this is coming from. I just don't think the Broncos would have any reason to lie about it. I think if that was the move, I don't know. Maybe it's Garrett's agent or someone else who's saying that he's not on the trade block. I can't really imagine why the Broncos would have an interest in trying to lie about it if Garrett thinks he's on the trade block.
Increases his trade value too. Like as soon as you're out there saying like we're trying to get rid of him.
That's what being on the trade block is though.
And that's why they're saying he's not on the trade block. That's why they're saying like, yeah, we'll field calls. It's different.
It is different. But if they're shopping him, then everyone knows he's on, the other teams know he's on the block.
Yeah. Well, but on the block means like you're getting rid of him though. Like I feel like taking calls, seeing what a value is different than saying like,
there's a big
he's up for auction right now.
There's a big difference between taking calls and making calls.
True. Yeah. I think they're probably curious about his value.
The way that
his agent heard that.
The way that Mario phrased it to me sounds like making calls.
Yeah, I bet they were making calls.
So that means he's on the trade block.
No.
That means
No, because on the trade block basically means like this is now an auction. Like we're taking whatever the highest bid is. Making calls just means like what would you give? Like should we put him on the trade block or is his value not there?
Trade block is the semantics that we're getting caught up on here. To me, it's like trade block means we're willing to trade him, not we're going to trade him.
Yeah, that would be different.
Yeah. But I guess block, you think like chopping block.
You do. There's not many other blocks you think of. Like those, remember those little blocks that had letters on them? You stack them in
Legos?
all that. No. Before Legos. Before you understand, like you
Oh,
could stick
like
them
just
together.
the wooden
blocks.
ones.
Just blocks.
Yeah, just straight up blocks of wood.
Haven't thought about those.
Haven't thought
This
about
is
those
nothing
either.
like that.
Cinder blocks.
Cinder blocks. Okay, so did you see
Offensive lineman blocks.
Did you see like the tweet with the guy who's like, "Oh, I will sell this bookshelf I made for like $80 or whatever."
No.
And it was just like 2 cinder blocks and then like a thing of wood and then 2 cinder blocks like a thing of wood, and everybody's arguing like, "Well, wood's expensive and it's kind of like modern and cool." And everybody else is like, "What the hell? That we're paying $80 for this?" It took a twist today. I think somebody it was the same thing except it was books holding up instead of the cinder blocks, and in the middle it was bricks, like where the books would be.
Wow.
Which is kind of a meh.
You're on a weird part of Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess let me start here. Do you think it's Bolles?
I think it makes sense. I think anybody else you trade, you're opening up a hole. I think with Bolles, you free up some money. You would think a tackle would still go for quite a bit.
Left tackle.
And that's the problem. And so in that case, like, I would guess Cushionberry's back. They might even bring Reisner back and maybe just try to patch up the tackles. It probably depends on what they can get, too. Like, they might be looking at this saying, like, hey, if we can find a way into a second-round pick, we think that in this class we can find somebody we want to start there. And maybe we have to throw in a 4th or a 5th to move up that far, but then that's almost separate of the going and signing a different guy. And you're freeing up space so that with that whatever... Did I write down how much you can save? I didn't write how much you can save. But you would wind up with a little bit more space likely to go after a big-name tackle on the other side, too.
So here's what I come back to. And, again, I am filling in some blanks.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I do here. The Denver Broncos and the New Orleans Saints were in the market for a tackle in the same draft.
True.
The 2016 draft? 2017.
17, yeah.
The Denver Broncos and New Orleans Saints were in the same market for a tackle in the 2017 draft. The Broncos selected Garrett Bolles.
Yep.
The Saints selected Ryan Ramczyk.
Yep.
The rumors that went around after that were that teams were essentially clowning the Broncos for drafting Bolles instead of Ramczyk. And that, some of the teams had like really bad evaluations on Garrett Bolles. There is a chance that one of those teams that had a really bad evaluation on Garrett Bolles was the New Orleans Saints.
Definitely.
And Sean Payton. And there's a chance that Sean Payton said when he came into the Broncos, we got to get a better left tackle.
Yeah.
Straight up. So if that was the case, the comments are asking, why would you open up a hole on one of the weakest units on the team? Which I think is debatable, but not really worth debating right now.
Yeah.
The case would be you simply just believe you have to improve at that position, and you're not really willing, or you are willing to kind of open that hole because you think that you can fill it with a better player or a better fit.
Yeah. It's definitely possible. And you couldn't go get Ramczyk just for what it's worth. I think that could kind of be the line of thought. But he cost them another $18 million if they trade him than if they keep him, and they just can't be making moves like that this year.
Do you think that the NFL should allow teams to trade money in things like this? So like the Broncos say, like, we'll cover half of that?
No.
Or like trade cap space?
No. Because then you make having cash more valuable. And I think that's what sucks about like the NBA where it's just like, oh, luxury tax, or MLB where it's just luxury
MLB
tax.
Is the definitely
yeah,
the one.
and that's where like I think you gave the guy the money that has to show up in your accounting. You can't just take. Yeah, it would be good for the Broncos, but I think it'd be bad for the league.
I'm still saying like you still have to have the cap. You can just say like we'll take on $9 million of that dead cap, and then you only have $9 million.
Yeah,
or we'll take on $9 million of the salary hit.
But then, like, again, that's just like
something.
accounting, where you're just like, oh, we'll take this on, but we're not actually paying any money out. Like, we'll eat this cap for the rich team who's willing to just go blow another $10 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
For what it's worth, the Broncos would save about $10 million if they moved on from Bolles.
That is so $10 million. Yeah. Well, okay. Do you want to talk about the price for Bolles now, or who else it could be now?
Let's just start with the prices, and we'll run through all the other names.
Okay. So, $10 million in savings.
Yep.
And what? What are you getting in this deal?
So that's the tough part. So whoever trades for Bolles would basically get him on a non-guaranteed contract, so you could move on from him whenever. It'd be 2 years, and it costs $15 million per year. And as of now, that is the 21st most for a tackle.
It's a really good price for a team that is saying, like, we're a left tackle away from having our offensive line solidified.
Yep. And so, like I said, that's 21st most for a tackle. It's going to be 22nd when Orlando Brown signs a deal, and who knows who else will jump him. So that number is going to drop off a little bit more. So that's a good deal. And again, like second team All-Pro in 2020. We all know Garrett Bolles, like really good run blocker, solid in pass protection, but when he gets beat, he grabs the guy, and that's like, especially in modern football, just something you cannot do. So yeah, I mean, I think that teams probably, you have to remember offensive lines everywhere are bad. Like there are not 32 starting left tackles. There's like 10 or 15, and Bolles is like at the very bottom of that 10 or 15 just based on the injuries and the penalties and that sort of stuff. So I do think that you could get like a fourth for him. Like Trent Williams.
Wow, that's it.
Trent Williams was a third and a fifth. Wow. Orlando Brown with a second and sixth was a first, third, fourth, fifth. Laramie Tunsil went with Kenny Stills. There aren't a lot of big trades with tackles, so this is going back to like 2019 now. But it was Tunsil, Stills, fourth and sixth for Batamosi, that corner who's like a fringe starter, a backup tackle, 2 firsts and a second. So you do see where that could come from, but Laramie Tunsil was one of the very best, and at that point was still on a rookie deal. So I do think maybe it's a little conservative to say you get a fourth for him. You might be able to get more. Maybe.
I don't do the deal for a fourth.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah. I'm actually not doing the deal for anything that doesn't give me a higher draft pick than I currently hold.
Okay.
So they have an early third.
What if I said that you could get a second, but you have to include a fourth?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably right around what the price would be.
I mean, you have to. The only reason you're trying to acquire draft capital, in my opinion, is to try and get higher rated players.
Yeah.
So, you know, getting a fourth doesn't do much for me. Sure, you could then trade a third and a fourth for a second. But you're also opening up a hole on your offensive line. I think that you can get a bidding war out of this. Because I think there are at least 3 or 4 teams that think, man, a starting left tackle for $15 million that was an all-pro at one point.
Yep.
Look, we know Bolles as well as anyone.
Yeah.
But when you're desperate for offensive line help, that is going to look really good. $15 million for a former all-pro. He's coming off an injury for sure. But I think you can tantalize a couple teams and just say, like, first one of you guys to offer a second-round pick gets him.
Yep. And I think, I don't know, the Broncos have obviously made a lot of mistakes with their tackles. So I guess specifically right tackle.
They've only made mistakes.
Exactly. And so you can't just like discount that. But I do think it is worth remembering that a lot of people make mistakes on tackles because there just aren't that many.
Yep.
And so you just have to take a swing. And, you know, who was the Dolphins guy? I'm blanking on his name. Played like Juwan James.
Oh, God.
It's like a Juwan James. Garrett Bolles. Again, you just need 1 or 2 teams to say, oh, wow, we think that this could be a stud left tackle for us. And he could be. You know, we give him a lot of grief for how old he is. He's still only 30. He'll be 32, 33 when this deal ends, which is still good age for a left tackle. A team could say, we're getting a Pro Bowler for 2 years at the most important position, second most important position on the offense.
For cheap.
Yes. And so if you're the Bears and you say, we need to get Justin Fields to be a passer, and we have $100 million in cap space, why not? Why not take a swing on Bolles? Because you have to fix up so much of the offensive line. Yeah, like you might be able to get a second for him.
This could be an all-city trade because the Cardinals would kind of make sense too.
Yeah, they definitely could. I think, let's see, where are they cap-wise? 11th, so they've got $13 million, but again, you always can find more when you need to. But yeah, you look at the Bears, you look at the Falcons, they wouldn't trade him to the Raiders. The Giants could be an option.
They maybe would trade him to the Raiders.
Maybe it depends on how much they like him. Yeah, if they really don't. That's the thing is like the Broncos got a bad evaluation, whatever. They probably weren't the only ones. There's probably other people in the league who say, oh, this guy could be really good.
Yeah. What's crazy is that they drafted him on the idea of like a mean streak. And the Saints drafted Ryan Ramczyk on the idea that he's really smart.
Yep. Yeah. And, I mean, Ramczyk's been good.
He's a multiple-time All-Pro.
Yeah, he's been good. I don't know, like, I think there's still a gap, and I guess he's only 28. Yeah, first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro.
3-time All-Pro.
Yeah, which is interesting. See, I had him, like, that tier right below. Like, easy Pro Bowler, but you've got, like, Trent Williams up at the top. You've got even, like, Tunsil now. I guess that's the thing is there aren't many tackles.
There's so
and that's
few.
why maybe I would guess you can get a third for Bolles. And a second probably is possible. And the way you'd look at that is you say, okay, well, you get $10 million in cap space and you get this pick. You draft a tackle with the second-round pick and say that's somebody who's going to start right away. And the $10 million, you could give most of it to Dalton Reisner and keep him around and keep some profit. You could go out and get like a slight upgrade there and look at that as a way to solve 2 spots by just splitting Garrett Bolles in 2 if you don't really like him anyway.
It's an interesting thought. It's a risky move in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's one of these situations where the Broncos have like held on to Garrett Bolles for so long because it's easier to do that than to start over.
Yes.
And Sean Payton might just not be someone who like wants to play those games.
Yep.
He's like, I need guys who fit my system. I need guys who are good enough, not just, a stopgap.
Yep. But the flip side is that if Garrett doesn't get called for a bunch of penalties next year, and I mean, health-wise, he hasn't really had issues. Like a broken leg is a broken leg. Like that's just kind of fluky. But if you wind up with him as an All-Pro, Quinn takes the jump that I think he's going to take, the jump that the advanced stats said he's already taken, then all of a sudden you have 2 Pro Bowlers, and who knows what you do with the rest of that line, but that's a good starting point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting discussion. I want to get to who else it could be, but first I want to tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Get over to DraftKings Sportsbook, get in on all of their incredible deals and promotions, and get in on Nikola Jokic. If you just bet on Nikola Jokic, good things happen to you. And right now, you could bet $5 on anything and get $200 in free bets.
Yep.
$200 in free bets to get your account started off. Take that $200, bet it on different Nikola Jokic bets every night, and that will turn into more than $200. You have my word on that. It's really that simple.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
The only time I lose bets is when I don't bet on Nikola Jokic.
It's true. That is true. I was looking last night, and the Nuggets were minus 285 tonight. And I'm sure that's changed.
Whoa.
And I was
Who are
almost
they
thinking, the Mavs. It's Kyrie's debut.
Someone in the comments of YouTube yesterday said, like, bro, Kyrie's played 3 games for the Mavs.
Wait, really?
Dude,
People are saying that's
they're
Kyrie's
0-2
debut.
so far. That's why I'm like, why do you keep calling it his debut? Like,
Really?
Debut in Denver.
that's what
Wow,
I
he
thought.
has been playing.
That's what I thought he meant. They literally combined
They
for
were hyping
69
that up.
points the other day,
Wow.
That's
and they
not that
still
much.
lost.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
So, there
also
you go.
for a guy who's Australian.
Oh, yeah.
don't really
So
care.
not Kyrie's debut.
Not Kyrie's
Maybe
debut.
Kyrie already load management. That's why.
Maybe. It's possible.
I mean, there's no other reason why they'd be minus 285.
No. I bet that's changed.
So anyways, get over to DraftKings. You can bet on Nikola Jokic tonight. I will be doing it in several different ways. And use the code DNVR when you sign up. Of course, age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700, and this is void in Ohio.
And you should reach out to our friends over at Roman because if you use the code DNVR, you can get 20% off your first order. What Roman does for you is improve your sex life. Up to 50% of men have symptoms that get in the way of wanting or enjoying sex. And if you want a better sex life, you're not alone. Roman is here to help. Roman is the digital health clinic for men. They address a variety of sexual health needs, and they offer genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain a strong erection. Roman offers discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. If you're dealing with low T, then getting testosterone levels back to normal can help increase your libido. They offer a testosterone test, which includes lab processing. And if it's appropriate for you, treatment for low testosterone. There's no waiting rooms, no hassle. It's a straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your own home. And if medication or testing is appropriate, Roman will send it directly right to your door. Everything arrives in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping. Like I said, you can get 20% off your first order with the code DNVR. So to learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to ro.co/DNVR to get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/DNVR.
There you go. Okay, so let's live in a world where it's not Bolles, but there is still a big name Denver Bronco on the trade block.
Yeah.
Who would it be?
I mean, I think most likely is Courtland Sutton. There's like a whole list. I mean, any of the big name Broncos you could make the case for, all the way down to Pat Surtain. Like, I would hate it if they made the move, but you look at what the Rams got the Jags got for Jalen Ramsey, who had 3 months left on his contract, and say, like, why wouldn't you take a couple of firsts and all that other stuff? And then you throw on the fact that Surtain's another year on the deal, and just about anybody could really be available. I think Sutton just makes a lot of sense because he's coming off a down year. You probably want to change your weapons up, especially if you can go get Michael Thomas. And he could be appealing to some other teams. He definitely could be appealing. And for what it's worth, if a team were to trade for him, they'd take on a 3-year deal, basically non-guaranteed. It would be $13.5 million per year, which would be the 28th highest paid receiver.
And he's definitely a top 30 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. I'll say he is. I'm not going to say definitely.
Okay, you're right. I mean, I'd have to go through it.
Yeah.
Who are some other... Can you quickly pull up who are some other players in that price range?
I definitely can.
Okay. I actually don't see why this one makes sense.
Oh, really?
The Courtland Sutton role is so obvious in the Sean Payton offense. You've seen him do it with Michael Thomas. You've seen him do it with Marcus Colston. Like, the big body receiver has a huge role in this offense. So unless, and this is a possibility, Sean Payton just says, hey, we can get Michael Thomas. I prefer him than Courtland Sutton. Let's trade Courtland and then try to get Michael. That makes sense to me. Doesn't that seem unlikely, though? Like, Michael Thomas has been so irrelevant for, 3 years now?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean... It's just the injuries. Because I think he played 2 games this season. He played the first 2 and had 3 touchdowns in 2 games.
Oh, wow.
But then he got hurt again and was never heard of. And for what it's worth, $13.5 million. That put him between Corey Davis at $12.5 million, Robbie Anderson at $14.75 million. Behind him, Curtis Samuel, Tim Patrick, Nelson Aguilar, Tyler Boyd, Sterling Shepard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Russell Gage, DJ Shark, Randall Cobb. Those aren't. Courtland Sutton is better than those guys.
Yeah.
So at the very least, it's market value at the very worst, and with the clear upside.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably getting a great deal on him, and it's another reason why I just don't think it makes sense to trade him.
Yeah.
You need a big body receiver. I think that they did I don't know. He's so weird. I get the frustrations with Courtland Sutton because you just see him have these big games, and you're like, man, against the Texans, it was like Derek Stingley has no shot at covering Courtland Sutton right now. And then there's other games where you're just like, is Courtland Sutton playing today?
Yep.
So maybe internally the Broncos are saying, we don't want to deal with the disappearing act anymore. We can sell the upside and get good value for it. That makes sense. But for me, I just assume when Sean Payton watches Courtland Sutton film, he's just like, oh, I can use that.
Yep. And the tough part for Courtland, though, he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2019. Hasn't even hit 900 in a season since then. He has 4 total touchdowns in those last 3 seasons.
Yikes.
One where he missed all but 1 game. I mean, numbers-wise, there's almost nothing to like about what Courtland Sutton does. And when you watch him, he also hasn't... the jump balls aren't there. The big plays really aren't there for the most part either, at least at the rate you expect. They've started to use him as the big body possession guy, which is what Michael Thomas was. But without the juice that he had in that one season. I mean, even early in his career, I guess he only started half the time, but that was a 700-yard season then too. So I don't know. I would not mind seeing them. Like, if you could get a second-round pick for him, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no way.
No way, though. That's the thing.
So I think you're probably trading him for like a fourth.
Odds are, yeah.
And then, I just kind of re-talked myself into this, though. Maybe Sean Payton looks like Tim Patrick, and he's like, that's my guy, actually.
Yeah, totally.
That's my big body receiver.
And, I mean, receivers right now are worth more than they ever have been.
That's true.
Chase Claypool went for a second. Calvin Ridley went for either a second, a third, or a fourth, plus a fifth, depending on like how the suspension went. So that was just like the weird piece there. Kadarius Toney was a third and a fifth, and that was before, obviously, he figured out how to play football. So A.J. Brown a first and a third.
Letting the Chiefs get Kadarius Toney should have been illegal.
Yeah.
Like, just anyone else.
Yeah. Tyreek was a first, a second, a fourth, and a sixth.
Can you mention the players again who are around Courtland Sutton's money?
So that list behind him, starting right behind where he'd be, that would be Corey Davis, Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel, Tim Patrick, Nelson Aguilar, Tyler Boyd. The guys who would be paid just more than him. So Robbie Anderson would be right in front of him. Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, Hunter Renfrow, Robert Woods, Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett, Christian Kirk, Kenny Galladay.
Okay, the higher you go, the better they get, obviously.
But that's like 50-50 in front of him are better.
Because someone said he's not living up to his contract. He's not living up to the bargain that we thought we were getting.
Yeah.
But I would say he's in that range.
He's not far off. No, definitely not far off. And again, if you're a team trading for him, you say, well, yeah, that offense was terrible.
Yeah.
How do you expect him to hit 900 yards? And I would say, well, I mean, that's just what a good receiver should be getting regardless of who the quarterback is. But yeah, I mean, the potential's still there. And he's only He's 26 now?
Yeah.
So just entering his prime in theory?
In theory.
Yep.
The thing that worries me is he's never been the same after the knee injury.
Yep.
And like we pull up the stats talking about Javonte all the time, but it's like it's possible he just never is. He never will be.
It's very possible.
And that's also my favorite Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, let's say you want to lean on him instead, and you say we're going to make him the big body receiver in this offense, and we're going to feature Jerry Jeudy more, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that's fine. Is he the same guy?
Yeah. And
at least he wasn't like he actually was really fast for his height.
Yeah.
It's one of the like traits that he didn't get enough credit for. But is he? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Is he? He's less reliant on his athleticism and more. He's just like very reliable.
Yeah, exactly. And if you did trade Courtland Sutton, then you have Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy, and behind them you have KJ Hamler, like Kendall Hinton. You probably go get Michael Thomas in that world, but you can probably count on him even less than KJ.
How do you go get Michael Thomas?
He's on a weird contract, so they really don't. They'll pay him the same amount of money regardless of whether they keep him for this year or don't. So there's really no incentive for them to move on from him. But he has a $35 million roster bonus the next year. So they're basically like they're just going to cut him at that point. And so what you have to do is convince them that he's been hurt so much. We'll give you a fifth for him, and
you'll get something rather than
he gets nothing, and you'll save. I think it would reduce the cap hit the next year, the dead cap the next year. So I guess that would be the incentive.
Yeah, I mean, if they get Derek Carr, I don't think they'll do it. If they don't get Derek Carr, I could see them saying, okay, well, we got nothing going for us this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of clinging to that window, and the NFC South is terrible.
Yeah,
like the Bucs are going to be awful.
But it
the
basically
Panthers,
sounds like
the Falcons,
it sounds like if they don't get Derek Carr, they're going to go after Baker Mayfield. And it's like, okay, well, you got to be honest about yourself if your quarterback is Baker Mayfield.
Punt a season, yeah, why not? So, I mean, let's see. So, if they were to trade him, they take the total $26 million. No, yeah. So, it'd be $26 million in dead cap if they trade him. They pay him $13.5 million if not. But if they don't trade him, then they be on the hook for the other $13-14 million next year anyway. So, by trading him, they would push that entire cap hit to this year, which they would have to make a bunch of moves to do anyway.
One thing I think you do need is a wide receiver that Russell Wilson trusts to go make plays for him. And I don't think Courtland Sutton was ever that guy this year. I think he was early. He wanted him to be that guy.
Yeah.
We saw it, remember, in training camp. 4th and 1, he's throwing like fader outs to
Totally.
back shoulders to Courtland. Like he trusted him, and for whatever reason, the trust fell apart early in the year. And you take a whole part out of Russell Wilson's game if you can't just say like, throw it up to the big guy.
Totally. I mean, that was the appeal of Courtland Sutton. It's like he can do all these other things fine as well. Like he's not a separator, but he's big enough that he can catch the football, box out, and make a play that way. But that's not the appeal. The appeal is that he can go do all these things downfield. And I think the reason they didn't keep going to him downfield was because it just wasn't working. Like whenever they threw deep, I wonder if the stats back this up. Yeah, so deep down the middle, so 20-plus yards downfield, targeted 5 times this season, caught one of them. It was a 50-yarder. One of the others was intercepted. That's a 30 passer rating when he's targeted there.
Yikes.
Never targeted him deep down the right side. Deep down the left, he targeted 11 times, completed 3 of them for 92 yards, 61 passer rating. So what does that mean? 4 of the 16 were hits. You're batting 25% on those deep balls. That's just not good enough.
Not good
because
enough
he's
at all.
60-40 guy, not 25-75 guy.
Or apparently he is.
That's the thing.
You are what they say you are.
Exactly.
Okay. If it's not Courtland, who is it?
If it's not Courtland, I think Simmons is next up.
Yep.
So for him, the team that trades for him would take on 2-year deal, $14 million per year. That would be 10th among safeties as of now. Jesse Bates
Great
is a
deal.
free agent. There's a couple other guys who will probably get in front of
11th,
that.
at least.
Yeah, and the tough part is just figuring out where he fits in because, I mean, there's really been 2 big safety trades. One of them being Jamal Adams. So they trade Adams in a 4th for a replacement safety, Bradley McDougald, starter, but not really any good. And then they got the 10th pick, the 23rd pick, and a 3rd round pick. So that's
insane.
That's insane. And he was.
And they've only gotten roasted ever since then. It's not real
Oh,
precedent.
yeah. It was a terrible, terrible trade. And you also have the fact he was younger. That was before the last year of his rookie deal, which honestly isn't that far different than where Justin Simmons is because you knew you get the 1 year of cheap control and then you're resetting the market. And instead of that with Simmons, you get the 2 years where neither are resetting the market. It's pretty average. So it's a little bit worse, but the biggest difference is the age and just the hype. Like the hype was different. And then the other one's Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was traded halfway through his 2nd year, so 2.5 years of control. They sent him with a 4th and a 7th for number 18, a 5th and a 6th. So,
Wow.
I don't know. There's also other stuff like Clinton Dix halfway through the last year of his rookie deal for a 4th round pick. Yeah.
So can you get a 1st round pick for Justin Simmons?
Right now, I don't think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised, though. Like, I think it's probably a good 2nd.
He's the number 1 turnover generator
Totally.
in the league, I believe, over the last 2 seasons.
And he's a good culture guy. And again, like, the thing is, there aren't a lot of teams with cap space, but you just keep going back to, like, the Bears and the Texans. It's like, could the Texans with DeMeco Ryans, who just want to run the big cover 3, like, Legion of Boom style defense, could they say, wow, there's our center fielder, there's our defensive captain, and we actually have what that would be maybe their 2nd or 3rd guy who's actually starter caliber, and he's well above that on that defense. We can patch the rest with draft picks. We have draft picks that we are willing to get rid of just because there are so many. Like, you don't want 13 rookies on your team, especially when you're trying to establish a culture. So you see the case there. You see the case with the Bears too, but there's only so many of the teams that really want to make a deal like that.
Yeah.
So you wonder how many bid.
If you can get a 1st, it's something you have to think about.
Yeah.
The question that I would have is Caden Stearns really ready to go take over that role? And the other thing is Kareem Jackson is done. So
Yeah.
you're replacing both safeties this offseason. And Caden Stearns, I actually have kind of always envisioned him
Yeah.
potentially playing alongside Justin Simmons, not replacing him. Like, he's almost a little more KJ than he is Justin. I've always felt. What do you think?
He's a great fit for the defense the Broncos have been running.
Yeah.
Because it's like there is no free safety. There is no strong safety. There's just 2 guys who, depending on what the offense does, either crash or sit back.
Yep.
And so Caden coming into the league was a free safety. Like, I think he told me he only played free safety at Texas. And so he has the speed to do that, but also last game, I think the game he got hurt, the Colts, I think that was the Colts game, 2 picks though. Yeah, because there's 2 picks on Matt Ryan, and those are both where he's just crashing into the box. They weren't necessarily great plays on his part, but the safety comes in, quarterback reads it wrong, and he's just in the right place to stand in front of the receiver and make the play. And then after that, he got hurt. So I think he's a good fit. And honestly, for that room, I wouldn't mind bringing Kareem back and saying, you have Justin for one of the starters, which is great. Kareem is going to be incredibly cheap. He's your insurance option in case Caden isn't ready. And PJ Locke is kind of your, like I think he's already 26. He's turned 26 a couple days ago. Caden's only Caden just turned 23. So you probably would be fine with Caden and PJ. But if you trade Justin, then you probably do go after like a Von Bell or Jesse Bates or something.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting kind of thought. Von Bell, Saints. I think he has Saints experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't know if you trade Justin.
I wouldn't.
The only, if you do, you're kind of doing like you want to do a full reset.
Yeah.
And you probably maybe you're trading Courtland as well, and just saying like, look, we need new leadership on this team. I thought it was one of the main reasons they traded Vaughn. But I don't know. It's hard. They've never committed to rebuilding. And so you just kind of have lingering stuff, and it just they keep losing. So you keep having guys who are, used to nothing but losing in the NFL.
Yep. If you want to change the culture, the easiest way to do that is to move on from the captains.
It's just really weird to say you want to change the culture and then trade Justin Simmons, who's like
the best culture
a 10
guy.
out of 10 culture
exactly.
guy.
Exactly. But, I mean, we say that because he's a nice guy. And maybe they need more Aqib Talib and less DeMarcus Ware. More TJ. So that'd be the case that they make that way. I don't think
Sean Payton seems like a guy who would say that.
Yeah, Bountygate.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have that. So yeah, I wouldn't move on from him. But if somebody does say like, we'll give you a first and a second, that's really tough to turn down.
Is there any other names that you think could be included here?
In terms of big names, like Jerry, it's the same conversation we've had. That's possible. Draymond with the franchise tag, you'd be paying him like $17.5 million a year. I don't think. I'm curious if anybody wants to give him that much money.
They will.
You think so?
Yep.
And in that case, then trades are all about the surplus value. Like if you think he's a $20 million player and you can only pay him 17.5, why not trade a fourth for him?
Right.
But I think you're probably like the margins are so slim. It's like a sixth or a seventh, and like you could go down that route probably if you wanted to.
I am so curious to know what this staff thinks of Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
I'll just be honest. The last staff was not high on Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
And that was mind-boggling to me. Because, I was talking with some people on the staff, a few drinks deep, and I was just like, man, like Jerry, right? Like he's so sick. He's going to be so sick. And they were like, eh. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, really? You don't think he's that guy? And they were just like, no, not really. I think in the right hands, he absolutely can be.
Yeah.
And so I hope that this staff says, like, I hope Sean Payton is telling Jerry Jeudy, like, I'm going to make you a 1,500-yard receiver this year.
Yeah. And I think that would make a lot more sense. Like, pick up that fifth-year option, see if you can get the best out of him. And if not, he's an even value. And if you do, then you have the option to trade him for something pretty great. Or you just say, we have a good receiver, let's not move him.
Right.
So I think, I wouldn't even really consider trading him unless somebody, like Justin Simmons, if somebody wants to do something dumb, let him do something dumb, but that's it. And then outside of that, I mean, you're going to have to trade an outside linebacker.
Okay.
Because right now you have Randy Gregory, you have Baron Browning, you have Jonathan Cooper, you have Jake Martin, who was a starter during the 2 games he was healthy.
Yep.
You have Nick Benito, and there's 5. You have Aaron Patrick, who was a key special teamer before he got hurt. Jonathan Kongbo. You have Chris Allen, who was your highest paid undrafted guy who tore his ACL in camp. Like, that's just so many bodies. And when you're trying to clear roster space or add picks, and they're still getting mocked to draft an edge rusher in the first round half the time, or I guess before they made the trade. So that's dead. But you just have too many starting caliber players and not enough great players.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's really a big name you can trade on. Like Baron Browning, I guess, would be the one that you can extract the most value from there.
Yeah, but if you bring in Rex Ryan and you're running like the hybrid 3-4-4-3, that would kind of be perfect for a guy like Baron Browning.
Right.
Maybe that's the world where you say, oh, Jacob Martin. Texans need like a starting player. He's had like 2 stints there. We'll take a 6th or a 7th or whatever. Jonathan Cooper. Like
Those aren't big names, though.
Exactly.
So,
but that is where you're going to see a trade.
Yep. All right. We're going to get to your guys' questions in a second. We are 26 likes away from 200.
Wow.
Help us get over that. And I guess we got to get to 203 because we got 3 thumbs down.
Oh, wow.
You didn't even talk about the Chiefs today. People don't like Jerry Jeudy?
They like Jerry Jeudy, but they want him gone.
They want to trade Jerry.
Those two things can't be true. You either like him and you want to keep him, or you don't like him and you want to move him.
You guys are saying keep him when people started disliking him. When you guys said keep him.
Wow.
I'm still probably in the top 5 percentile of people who are high on Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
They're just guys don't move. Other guys don't move like that in the NFL.
And he was electric down the stretch.
Yes. He had a 3 touchdown game.
He had a 3 touchdown game.
He had as many touchdowns in one game as Courtland Sutton has since 2019 almost.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I would bet on Jerry.
Yeah. And who knows, like at any moment now he could just mature.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's kind of been holding him back in my opinion. But like at any moment he could, grow up and become a pro rather than like a young guy in the NFL.
He had 193 yards from scrimmage in the season finale.
Yep.
193. That's a lot.
How many players in the NFL did that this year?
Oh,
I mean, you don't have to look that up. But
I could do it.
Okay, do it. Anyways, before we get to your guys' questions and your super chats, got to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. Game Time, Henry. Let's say you want to go to the Nuggets game tonight, which I know you do because it's Kyrie's debut, right?
It's Kyrie's debut.
You can get in for much cheaper than just about anywhere else. Right now, get in price, including fees, $46. Why is that notable, Henry? Because yesterday it was $63. What does this tell us? Procrastination is good.
Yep.
So you can get in at the last second for up to 60% cheaper on Game Time. You just wait and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait, and it's going to be a great deal. So check out our friends over at Game Time. Use the code in our description. The link in our description. That always helps us out when you do that to get your tickets over from Game Time.
Yes. And also, our friends over... I was looking up the numbers. Oh, wait, no, that's Game Time again. Breckenridge Brewery.
There you go.
There's an awesome special. If you want to go to a Nuggets game, but you don't want to pay and you want to get incredible seats, then go to thednvr.com/BreckSweeps because we, along with Breckenridge Brewery, are giving away 2 tickets, courtside row 2, to the New Orleans Pelicans game on March 30th. Comes with the Club Lexus access. There's a parking pass. There's DNVR gear. And they're also giving away Avalanche tickets, which are on March 9th against the Kings. So this is row 5. Again, 2 tickets, Club Lexus access, parking pass, DNVR gear, all that sort of stuff. So go over to thednvr.com/BreckSweeps. Complete the form to enter. Have to be 21 or older. There's also a link in the description for this YouTube video and the podcast, and winners will be selected 1 week before each game.
There you go. And there is an Avs one too as well.
I said that.
Oh, well, Yaya wanted to correct you.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some super chats.
Oh, I should say, there were 10 players who had more than 193 yards from scrimmage in a game this year. 7 of them were running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 3 receivers, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, and Justin Jefferson.
And Jerry.
Yeah, those are the 3 in front of Jerry. Yep.
Say it again. Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, and Justin Jefferson.
Yep. Each of them did it once.
And people are hitting us with thumbs down because we like Jerry Jeudy.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I don't know either.
One of the most talented players on the team. Maybe the most talented behind Pat Surtain.
Yes. Also, 2 players had more than 3 touchdowns in a game this season. No receivers had more than 3 in a game this season.
Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs?
Joe Mixon had 5 against the Panthers.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Yeah, we lost our camera. Let's get to this super chat from Andre F, who says, "Feel better, Zach. We'll chug a glass of glass of beer in your honor." There you go.
Wow.
Instead of pouring one out, we don't have to do that yet. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I agree.
I had a different one up there.
Oh, there's another one?
Yeah, it was the Casey Turbin one.
Oh, okay, and this one's from Casey, who says, "Just want to call back yesterday's show and the audible laughter Numbies brought with his search for Brian Johnson / BJ, top-notch comedy / sports fusion. Ha ha."
Oh, boy.
That was a fun one. That was a fun one.
That was a fun one.
Tough weather out there today.
Yeah, it's cold.
When it's cold, it's tough.
When it's cold, it's tough.
All right, 2 comments on the website. Let's hit these. First one's from Broncology. A little off topic, but I created some digital art for you guys. I wanted to pass it along for your entertainment or however you see fit. I tried sending in an email I got from the app here, but not sure if you received it. Let me know how I can share it with you all. And thanks for your great work, Broncology. You can DM it to us on Twitter.
Yes.
That's a good way of going about it. Or, yeah, I'm sure someone will eventually forward us that email.
Yes, somebody would. You would think.
Finally, from the Count, he says, "The Count is on a subway in NYC listening to you, gents. It is surreal, and despite how out of place I am here, I feel like I am home with your voices in my earbuds. Nothing like a Hank dog take to bring me some urban comfort. All hail off-season pods. Love you, gents. The Count." We love you too, the Count. Enjoy NYC and be safe out there.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a good place to be.
All right. I think that wraps it up for us today. Hopefully we'll have Zach back tomorrow. Plenty to talk about, I'm sure. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see you then.
One quick thing. One quick thing. I saw somebody
Buzzer beater.
Somebody in the chat said we've only seen flashes from Jerry. He was 23rd in the NFL in receiving yards this year. Like, he put up wide receiver 1 numbers, and I'm sure some of the people in front of him, like Travis Kelce's in front of him.
And I'd love to
It's
see what he
probably
was
running back.
over the last 6 weeks.
Exactly. So it's not just flashes from Jerry.
No, he is a very good player in the NFL.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys later.